Hey, Dynamos. I'm JD Cargill, and this is Gals, Gays, and Theys. Let's take the Rainbow Press. This just in. The Rainbow Press. What is the Rainbow Press? I wanted to explain it. I want to just take a second to tell everybody what it is so that you understand how our editorial process is going to work here a little bit at Gals, Gays, and Theys. We like everything to be very intentional when possible. And so on our last episode, you saw that we named the different pride flags, and we sort of went over what the colors and the bands mean and the orientation. And the rainbow flag, the original pride flag that was created back in 1978, gives us a lot of inspiration around here. As you can tell, there's rainbows everywhere. But we decided to let it also guide the way that we pick the stories that we're going to cover on the Rainbow Press. Seems to make sense, right? So those red stories are going to be stories of life, things that are really relevant to the LGBTQ plus community. Also, let me put my glasses on. Family, occupation, money, recreation. And then that orange band, which represents healing, those will bring us stories of health, medicine, therapy, acceptance, ending shame and unhealthy fear, guilt, and self-doubt, that thing I talk about so much. And then the yellow band stands for sun, and that is solution, charity, energy, warmth, touching, endearing, loving, meaningful, hugely impactful stories. We're going to talk about one of those today, actually, from both the orange and the yellow category. We'll get to those in a minute. And nature, actually. We're right in the middle of the flag today because green represents nature, and that's human nature, mother nature, sex, natural things, the outdoors, travel. So those are those stories. And then the blue band stands for harmony. So we'll try to bring you plenty of stories about peace and balance, self-improvement. Of course, harmony seems to speak to music, right, as well. So we're going to have music stories in that block. And then the final color on the rainbow flag is that purple, that violet, and that is soul, according to the creators of the flag. And so for us, what soul stories mean, they're feel-good stories. They're good, enjoyable, happy stories. In the news business, which is where my experience is mostly, we would call that the kicker. Something happy, something to make sure that the show ends on a positive note and leaves you feeling inspired. Especially on Gals, Gays, and Theys, where we oftentimes do talk about really serious topics. We have some heavy stuff actually to talk about today as well. And that will get us right into our next story on the Rainbow Press. From the orange band of healing, we want to talk about male sexual assault, not males being the victim of sexual assault. And in particular, a big story that's been going around that our own Mariah brought to my attention. Mariah, hello. Why don't we have you pop on? She's like, thanks, JD. I just love when you start talking to me in the middle of the show.
I love it.
So, and I love seeing your face on camera whenever you want. Mariah brought us this great story. She is, a generation or two behind and young. And we love that here because it opens our eyes and insights to different worlds we may not see. I'm not that familiar, but now that I am, I'm really excited we're talking about it. There's a young man, 18-year-old, named Jack Wright. And Jack Wright is a cast member of the Netflix reality show Hype House. Mm-hmm. And tell us, Mariah, what is the story? What is going on with Mr. But now, I'm sure, is this his most popular video he's ever put out?
I believe so. He's a part of the Hype House, so that comes with,
a lot of, energy.
A lot of fame and, their Netflix show. And so there is a lot of attention on him and them. And, when this story came out, the fact that he didn't kind of come out about it, there was a lot of backlash on him. Mm-hmm. The abuser posted videos about it, kind of attacking him and blaming him for not responding. And we'll get into that too, on why these victims aren't coming forward right away. Right. And there is a reason, right?
And specifically, we're talking about male victims of sexual assault.
Yes.
And in this case, this young man is alleging that a TikTok star that he spends a lot of time with or was around a lot had sort of touched him inappropriately when he was passed out, had taken her clothes off and jumped on top of him, even though he protested it. And at one point unlocked a bathroom door that he was in.
While he was showering. And
maybe that was the point where it had gone too far. But according to his side of the story, well, we actually have an asset that kind of explains a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Why don't we play that? Why don't we show? This is from a Brandon Q, right?
Yeah. He's a TikToker who, you know, addressed it, addressing why Jack didn't come forward right away, and addressing the abuser's TikTok videos of her addressing as well.
All right, let's take a look.
Jack, if you really feel like I sexually assaulted you, why didn't you report me? Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you come out with these claims months ago? Why didn't you stop hanging out with me every day? Why didn't you say anything till now?
I told myself I wasn't going to speak on this because of how young they are and the things that have been going on, but I've seen so many videos about this couple. If you don't know who this is Sienna May talking about Jack Wright. They're both very young. They're both very high up TikTokers. They both have very large accounts, and there's a lot of things being said right now. Not that long ago, Jack posted saying that Sienna had sexually assaulted him, or that he had been sexually assaulted. Since then, I have seen several videos from Sienna. I have seen 14-part explanations and trying to right the situation. I have seen her YouTube video. I have watched everything. And meanwhile, Jack has been silent. And I can see now why he was silent. As a man who's been sexually assaulted before and know that nobody would believe him when he said it, because anybody else would have said, oh, you're lucky to have had.
Wow. Yeah.
It's a lot.
That is. Yeah, and I'm glad that we threw up that trigger warning. And apologies to anybody out there who, you know, and sorry for anybody out there who's triggered by this kind of content, because it's so sensitive and it definitely touches a nerve. There's a lot to unpack here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, first and foremost, we should always say that, you know, we are here not as legal experts and not as any kind of experts in the media, and this is part of media, and so we're analyzing it a bit, but, you know, we aren't doctors or lawyers or anything like that, so these are just our opinions. But I do want to get into it. I feel like, gosh, there is a lot going on here. Let's talk first about this man who stepped up on behalf of this other man, because that in and of itself is such a courageous act.
I just got chills.
I know,
all over my body.
Me too. It's in the air.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of courage.
It does.
And men don't talk about this kind of thing. And I can hear so many men from my past right now, like rolling their eyes and balking at the notion of this young man who we'll show you in a moment here, and you'll really see how impactful it is. But you know, they're so quick to write off that a man can be the victim of sexual assault. Of course, we know that's true through other men and the whole Catholic Church scandal and just beyond that in general. Yeah. But sometimes women are also the predator. Yeah. And why is it? What do you think it is about our society and the way that we're talking and the way things have happened so far that stops men from, you know, because we want men, women, we want anybody who's ever been a victim of sexual assault to come forward. It's not just for you. Of course, it's for you, but every single person who comes forward makes it easier for the next person to come forward and harder for the next predator to take action. So,
and these people, especially in the public eye.
Right.
I mean, it's one thing to come forward to the people close to you, but to tell the entire world, I mean, 20 million plus people, seeing the most vulnerable you could be. I mean, the courage that it takes to do that, I can't even imagine.
Why don't we go ahead and hear a little bit from Jack and his side of the story?
Pull it up.
I don't think I'll ever be the same person I was before Sienna. It sucks, and there's going to be people that try to take advantage of you and get you at your most vulnerable state, and that's not fair. That's not fair at all. And it's a lot of the time it's usually like the nice people that like let people walk all over them. And that was me. Like, I let everyone just walk all over me, no matter what. Like, I would do anything for anyone. And I think that's one of the things she gave me, was I learned how to be more bold and finally say no, and know that it was right to speak out.
It is. It's hard to watch. I mean, my first reaction is what his mother must be thinking, like when she saw this, and I'm sure that they, as a family, decided. Like I think he says in a portion of the video that they all came together to make this decision. But geez,
takes you back, you know. It's like
it's so brave. I mean, that word is thrown out around a lot lately, but. You know, if you think about where he is in his journey right now, and you think about the way that teenagers behave and what the biggest, sort of broadest social message is around it, I know I said this before, but like in thinking about it, there's kind of, you know, in a way, if a woman grows up, you have to understand that who the alleged accuser or the accused is here is a TikTok star. She's underage, so we're not going to say her name and we're not going to show her. She's on TikTok and the story is widely available. But she, in a way, is part of a culture now. If you look at her Instagram, if you scroll down and really dig into it, her entire brand has been made on her sexuality. She's scantily clad. I guess started out kind of a hero to some girls because she was showing a more shapely form and more curves. But then, you know, and so she's, you know, getting, and then millions or however many people on TikTok are giving her this constant sense of affirmation that your sexuality is your value.
And your biggest strength.
And your biggest strength. It's your superpower.
It is, yeah.
You know, it's her that's what she feels maybe right now, potentially. And then she tries to apply it to this young man who is not giving her consent, who is not, you know, according to his story, not allowing this to happen or wanting this to happen, and yet she's going in with this message. And I'm not trying to take away anything from her culpability here.
Right.
Like consequences must be had.
Right.
I hope he presses charges. I think it's a powerful message that it's hard and scary, but the more people that speak their truth, the easier it is to for other people. Right. So. But I think so. If you look at it really closely, yes, she's a predator allegedly, and any predator needs to suffer consequences. But then if you step back and you think, you know, these kids these days, oh my gosh, I sound mother. If you're watching, you know that you just heard you come out of my voice. These kids these days, they're growing up in a way that has the kind of technological advancements that have completely changed and really added to the intensity of their sexual experience. Like when they're coming into their own, it's like if you think, oh, I get attention because I do this, and then you try to apply that to your real life. Yeah. Can you see what I mean?
Well, this is why people like me. This is why I'm getting famous. So this must be, you know, why all these guys and girls are so into me is my body. So if I really like this guy, and again, I'm not defending anyone, but it's true.
We're just trying to understand.
Well, yeah, we're trying to understand the situation.
How something like this happens. Because he alleges that it has happened multiple times. It is not
for months. It's been going on for months. Right. Where he has constantly, I mean, it is classic manipulator behavior to abuse, apologize, say you're going to change.
You lure the victim back in.
Yeah, exactly. And you're a part of the same, I mean, they're young. You're a part of the same social circles.
Right. You find yourself in the same environment
a teenager that's
all the time.
Famous at that age, is a whole nother thing. So it's very complicated, and I understand how it was really complicated for him
to come out
and say something. And toxic masculinity, the way that people look at men and their sex drive, and there's all Brandon said in the TikTok, what man wouldn't love that?
Right. That's the assumption. Yeah. That right. Of course, she's beautiful.
Why would you not want?
Yeah, exactly.
Consent matters. Consent is important.
And also,
no matter what your gender is.
Right. That is the theme that we're talking about right now. Is that sexual assault and assault in general has no gender. I mean, it is. It's interesting, we're going to talk about this later in Taboo as well. We're having that segment today. In Taboo, we talk about things that were once really off limits that are now mainstream. And that also includes open communication. There was a time when it was even harder than it is today for a man to come forward and say something like this. I mean, it pains me when I think about a movie like Spotlight that shines a light on the gay abuse scandal in the Catholic Church, I shouldn't say gay abuse, the priest abuse scandal in the Catholic Church. and it won an Oscar. And I think it touched so many nerves because there is a lot of stuff out there that's happening that the victims aren't talking about it. And part of the reason they're not talking about it is because they feel shame from their own should be supportive community. In this case, other men.
Yeah.
And so we talk about toxic masculinity and how brave this young man is for doing what he did, to come out and talk the way he is and to share his story. And the very beginning of the video starts with him saying he's been wanting to do this for a while, so it took him a while. And you see all the cuts in the video, which if you know anything about media, I'm glad they're showing them because they're not trying to say they didn't start and stop. But a lot of times when you have to start and stop, it's because things have gotten very emotional and you have to collect yourself, and the kid's just all puffy-eyed through the whole thing. And I mean, not to get just all focused on the, what we're seeing here, but what he's talking about and what it means is really powerful. And then his choice to do this. Now, this is what we like to, like, people are like, why is the story in healing? And also, speaking of the story being in healing, in just a moment, we're going to have a little roundtable about it and bring on our own healer, Angelica Perman, who's here in the studio today. What? Yeah, I'll do the applause when she comes on. But before we get into that, let's get into this third act of the story, the part that really focuses on healing.
If you're watching right now and you've been through a situation like mine, I just want to say your feelings are valid. Your feelings are valid, your opinion is valid. I believe you, and I want you to know that you can talk to someone, you can talk to anyone, you can talk to me. But that's how I want to end it off. I love you guys.
So, talk about healing. This young man had the fortitude, 20 minutes into this video, after sharing his heart and pouring it all out, to have the wherewithal to pay it forward, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, he says, like, if anyone out there has gone through what I have, like, he's like, talk to someone. But not only does he say go talk to someone, he's like, you can talk to me.
Right.
And he's already, I mean, the time that it can take to heal from something like that, and he's coming out on this platform and lending a hand to anyone that has struggled, and
that's meaningful. That's going to touch a lot of people's lives, because the word influencer exists for a reason. They have influence. So as promised, we are going to discuss the absolute surge. I want to keep saying rise. The rise in the male form across American television screens, and really probably global screens, because I think streaming has a lot to do with this this spike.
Spike?
Talk to us.
Oh, God.
This story, what's funny is I pitched this story at an editorial meeting like 2 weeks ago. And then a week after that, so I saw it was covered on CBS Mornings with the Tony DeCopel. He was the perfect guy for the story. I love seeing how they squirm around.
I was gonna say you could tell that they were kind of uncomfortable talking about it.
And then it was on the cover of USA Today, and then Vogue did a piece, and now 2 days ago Hulu releases Pam and Tommy. Pam and Tommy. Tell us about it.
On Hulu. Yeah, it was just released on the 2nd. There's 3 episodes out. I would encourage everyone to go watch it. It's so good.
Oh, it's good.
It's really good. I mean, besides the penises,
Sebastian
it's just
Stan.
a good show. Lily James, Seth Rogen, Nick Offerman.
Great cast.
It is, and I mean, it's a story that I didn't know super well, probably because I'm younger and I wasn't alive when it happened.
Oh my God, you weren't alive when the tape came out?
No, I was not.
That is
1995.
Oh, damn. I wasn't even around yet.
Yeah, I was not. So this was kind of a new, I mean, obviously I know Pamela Anderson. I know Tommy Lee. I know them.
They didn't feel like it was that long ago, did it?
I know, and now it's like a thing.
And
yeah.
Were
you here when the tape
than
came
the
out?
Pam sex tape?
I am.
Wow.
I am.
That's crazy.
So it was fun kind of going into it with like fresh eyes, because I didn't know much about the story. But the show was great. Super well done. The acting is phenomenal. Lily James plays Pamela Anderson so well.
She looks incredible.
Crazy. Yeah. Let's talking about makeup. Like, I mean, wild.
It's amazing what they can do with makeup. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
prosthetics and wigs and a lot of trained
prosthetics,
by actors.
Definitely. But yeah, I was just watching it casually, and I knew we were going to discuss penises today, and I was watching it last night, and then
get ready for the sound effect, JD.
I mean,
oh yeah. Did we get the
No, not that one.
No, not that one.
one?
That's if you can reach the doorbell, then you're doing great.
Wow.
Can I just show
Wow.
these Pam and
Yes.
Tommy?
Oh, God.
Okay. Can I just say I had to use two eggplants
Two eggplants
to
for
cover
Tommy.
it for
And,
Tommy?
and we should be specific.
Two eggplants.
The reason we're starting with the Hulu, Pam and Tommy series, which came out this week, is because literally there's a whole scene where Tommy Lee, Sebastian Stan, who's playing Tommy Lee, has a full-on conversation with his unit.
Yeah, and his penis is talking back.
And it's talking back.
Wow.
And
Full
it's
conversation.
What did it have to say?
Eye contact. A lot of eye contact.
nothing
Oh,
great.
wait, you and me, kid.
What are they talking about? They're like debating something.
Tommy Lee is like, I'm in love with her. I love her so much. They had sex for the first time. He's in love. And his penis is like, no.
Oh, yeah, you could have Jenny McCarthy.
Yeah,
you could
have so many other
Right.
women. You thought all the other women were cool, and Tommy's
Oh,
like, no, I love her.
Yeah.
And it's just back and forth.
Now, can I ask
looks
a
at
question
him.
of the
It's like-
makeup artist in the room?
Yes.
Would that be something that you would have to put makeup on?
So the whole member, we'll call it, is fake. It's a prosthetic.
Right, of course.
Oh, and especially this one because it's got like an armature, and there's probably there is probably a special effects man sitting over there like watching it playing a video game.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
lead dick. He's the lead dick guy, right?
Yes, exactly.
He's like, I've been playing video games my whole life. I love
He
this
was
job.
born for this.
Yeah. So Sebastian Stan is probably wearing like a courtesy sock or some sort of
Or probably just
panty.
like a green screen. Like I feel like
Maybe.
I feel like that it was digital. I don't know if it
I
was
have to
all
watch it
prosthetic.
again.
Yeah.
Because like some of those like it like
It
whips
moved.
around.
Yeah.
That's a
Wait,
little
like
bit-
it's that much that you've seen
Oh,
it?
it's the whole
we should watch
scene.
it.
It moved.
Okay, let's watch it.
We should watch it.
Let's watch it after the
But
show.
but they're not all clearly prosthetic.
No.
I mean they are, I would say probably most are. But
Yeah.
you definitely
Yeah.
see scenes. Usually it's more when they're just flaccid and they're in a shower, or there's something where they're walking by
Yeah.
where like
Elite.
Euphoria.
No, not elite.
Right?
Michelle's
Yeah.
on, by the way. She's like, oh my God, I have to watch it. Yes. Of course she comes in right now.
Michelle showed up for full frontal nudity.
Yes,
Welcome,
of
Michelle.
course.
You're
I think
committed
Michelle
to the
will like that
cause,
scene.
girl.
I do too. But so we had that slide from the Hulu show Pam and Tommy, which has a whole episode where they're talking, where he's talking to his own penis, and then several other shows right now. There's like HBO Max, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
HBO Max coming out swinging hard, coming out swinging.
They're up at bat.
For Frontal, at least 3 shows that I've seen the last
Yeah.
month: Euphoria, The Righteous Gemstones, and as you like. Wait,
Lots
As You
of
Like It.
eggplants today,
And
everyone.
What's the new
Just
Sex
a
and the
heads
City
up.
series called?
Oh my God.
And
Just like that.
Just like that.
Just like that. That one.
God, that's
let's
impossible to remember.
so yeah, there's a little full screen.
That
on
one
it.
was
So-
really nice.
Euphoria. Yeah,
So
Euphoria.
if you're looking at this,
Oh my God.
If you're
Look at
looking-
that eggplant.
yes, if that's
Wow.
screen. So the
Oh my God.
That's
The,
not even
um,
like a quarter of the times
these
they
are all
show
from
it.
Euphoria, right?
I got,
we're
just
talking
got
about
really
Euphoria.
hot.
Yeah, there's a lot more penises on Euphoria than this.
Oh,
Oh,
many.
it's like
All of
every
the sizes.
episode.
It's
Yeah.
You could play a
lot.
drinking
Holy-
game.
Yes,
Yeah.
every time. Yep.
I mean, I bet there's people playing a drinking game.
I
Well, let's play
If
a
you're out
drinking
there and you're
game.
playing a drinking game, well, have a shot every time we see a unit.
I mean,
You won't
that
make it to the end of the episode sober. I'll tell you that.
I will tell you what, the eggplant takes up the entire screen.
Yeah.
And it's actually hurting my eye right now.
It's so I have a question for all of you. What do you think about this? Do you feel like, is it offensive? Do you find it liberating? Or you feel like, oh, the world's finally equalizing a little bit because we've been looking at women naked on screen forever?
Oh, you look like you have a lot to say, girl.
She's
I
ready.
can't
I bet.
wait to hear.
So I think it helps because I mean there are several movies. I of course can't think of a single one of them at the moment, but where there will be an intimate scene and you see all boobs, all
Right.
butt,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe a little bit of chest hair from Mr.
Oh
Man.
my God,
that's
right?
it. That's all
Yeah.
you see of him. You don't
Like
and
50
Which is
Shades
a
of Grey.
crushing
Yeah, listen,
disappointment
like
to
50
gay men
Shades of Grey
everywhere.
is a
Of
movie
course.
about
Absolutely.
sex.
Straight women.
Indecent Proposal, right? No,
Yeah.
not Indecent
No.
Proposal. What's the one with Sharon Stone?
Oh, Basic Instinct.
Yes.
Basic- I mean, you saw all the way up,
Yes.
all
Oh,
the way
fully.
inside, right?
Everything. Yeah.
And that was the most shocking thing that probably had ever
Back
happened.
in 2000,
Right?
whatever that was.
And
That's
it
the
was-
90s. No, that was
And
way
it-
a long time ago.
And
Yeah.
apparently, she didn't know that the camera was going to go in there. That was completely. She was told it was going to be tasteful, and that close up. And what happened there? I mean, that's like an assault, right?
Yeah.
So at that
Yeah.
time, that was over the top.
Yeah.
now this.
Do you think she was at the premiere and was like, "Whoa," or she really saw it beforehand?
I mean, I'm sure
she might
at
not
some
have known,
point
but hopefully at somewhere she
knew.
signed up. I feel
I'm
like
sure.
I hope
pretty-
at least an hour before.
No, but it was a
like, girl,
big-
you gotta know. it's all up in there.
It was a big thing, and I remember seeing it at the theater, and I saw it at a theater in a neighborhood, and man, it was crazy. They went nuts when it happened. And people stood up and went, "Whoa! Oh my God!" And they were like, "Damn, girl!" Like it went crazy.
Really?
And I was a young person, and I was like,
wild.
"Yeah." And so now we're having this
Here was
other
that.
extreme, right?
Right.
It's like the pendulum's swinging pretty hard the other way.
Yes. okay, you guys.
that genuinely, you guys.
Basic Instinct came out in 1992. I can tell you, I was 15, and I was not old enough to have the experience that I had watching that movie because it was with my parents at the cinema. And
Wait, you went to see Basic Instinct with your parents?
because we were on vacation.
That says a
in
lot.
The internet wasn't
Oceanside
around.
at this timeshare we used to go to, and there was one cinema, and it had two screens.
Oh, yeah.
And one screen was playing Basic Instinct, and one screen was playing something I guess I'd already seen. And so
Oh
my
my
parents were like, "Oh, it's just
God.
R-rated. I'm sure you
Oh
can
my
see an R at
God.
15." You know, they
Right.
were with me.
Up to that point, it's probably R-rated because of violence.
I think I had like my mom like fingerprints on my eyes from where my mom was like, "Whoa!" And then she did it to her husband. She was just making sure no
And
one
then
saw
she's
it.
probably like squeezing her eyes shut at the
And
same
you
time.
would think they would learn because once upon a time, the very first time I ever saw a woman fully nude was in the movie Risky Business with Rebecca De Mornay. And it was because my parents took me to see it,
Right.
thinking, "Oh, I'm sure it's going to be fine." It's not fine. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, it is fine.
It is, except
fine.
correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't see anything of Tom Cruise in Risky Business.
Never.
But
Oh,
you
no,
see
no.
her.
her
Right.
entire
All of it.
double
So
standard.
normalized.
That's my angle on this. Like I'm not complaining. I
No.
Right.
love sex. I love the human body. I'm gay. I think men's bodies are gorgeous and
Right.
beautiful. I think it's hilarious too. I heard a line once that said like, the reason that women are celebrated nude is because the woman's body is like art. It's like beautiful and curvaceous,
Yeah.
and men naked look like a partially decorated Christmas tree.
Oh my God. Who you been with,
Where
girl?
was that line from?
Oh, we could talk about. Oh, Jesus.
Oh my, okay.
Wait, let's get to this next show. Because
Yeah.
the reason this is important too with the Sex and the City scene is that full frontal male nudity is sometimes just used, I think, as a way to be edgy
Or comedy.
or sometimes educational.
Like forgetting Sarah Marshall. There was a
Oh,
member
that's
there.
hilarious.
And that was a really
I
good
love
one.
that.
That was back when
That
it
was
was
a
so
good
rare
one.
that it was
It
so
was
shocking.
like bam, and
Like,
it was
so
a
you got the
shocker.
shocking
out of
anymore.
it.
Isn't
Yeah.
it funny and weird that I remember all these moments? That's kind of weird.
It's not. I think it's because it stands out. I mean,
It does
soon
stand
you won't
out.
be able to. There's so
Right.
much unit on American screens, you won't be able to.
No.
Here in
Okay.
this reboot of Sex and the City that's on HBO Max now, this scene where Harry is got that eggplant out, that's Charlotte's
God, I love
Charlotte's
it.
man,
Wow.
and she is she was helping him with something, and then
Helping him out.
well, it was about to be a sexual act. Then their young a daughter, like kind of, or
Yeah.
teen daughter, kind of opens the door, is
Lily,
like,
or
"Oh,"
whatever her name is.
and so she runs out and says that I was checking in for cancer. But then she has this guilt about, am I teaching my daughter to not be sex positive, to not like,
Right.
what's wrong with
Yeah.
with a loving couple
Right.
being in this moment? They
Right.
were in a restroom, the door was closed, So the whole show, that whole episode, well, not for her storyline, is a lot about that. I think that's an interesting use of it.
Totally.
I
You know?
agree. That was really well done. And also, who doesn't like eggplant parmesan? I mean, eggplant's my favorite nightshade.
So then back to you, because in that particular scene with those two, actually, Mariah, throw that back up there because I want to distinguish between the two. So the one photo on the left is where it was clearly a prosthetic.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even like the right color. I don't feel like.
No.
Yeah.
But the one on the right was not.
Yeah.
It was a very quick moment with Carrie. This guy's
Yeah.
not a
It looked
regular.
very real.
He's not he's gorgeous, but he's
Yeah.
just the boyfriend of her downstairs neighbor. This will be the last time we probably see him on the show. And he just drops his towel and you get this quick moment.
Yeah.
In that moment, is the hair and makeup artist have to like make sure that his weenie's not shiny?
Powder?
I feel like
Oh my
That's a quote.
God, that's a great gig for you.
Oh, God.
or is
You
a
know?
different makeup artist brought in just for that? Or do you give him a powder puff and say, go to the bathroom and make sure you're not shiny?
Are you
Now-
called a fluffer if you do that?
No.
Oh, no.
No. okay, I'm gonna claim. I don't know.
Okay.
Because
You haven't been called for that job yet.
I haven't been called for that job. Anytime that there has
Could
been
happen.
any sort of sexual act in a film I've been on, there's been an intimacy coordinator, and usually what that, yeah, and so like
that's
what'll
cool.
happen is I'll do them outside of the room before they're ready to go, and then they go in, and I'm not allowed in unless I'm given special permission by typically the actress.
That's good, though.
But yeah, which
Yeah.
is incredible.
Yeah.
I'm at the ready in case okay,
Sure.
which clothes on, Rachel's coming in, but I don't think you would have to, because like the only time I think makeup is required for male members is the application of a not real one.
Oh, I see.
Of
To
a
make sure it
fake-
matches.
to make
A
sure it
prosthetic.
matches, to make sure it's
Well, that makes sense.
yeah. So
I mean, and all joking aside, I mean, things are meant to be realistic. That's the
Yes.
whole point.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know if you are familiar with this, like French. There's a very famous calendar called the French Rugby Calendar. It's an annual fundraiser that all these actual players from the French rugby teams. If I'm telling you about this for the first time, you're gonna love me once you go
Okay,
Google
we got to
it.
check this out.
French rugby
Yeah.
calendar. So there's behind the scenes, BTS, we're bringing that back, video filming of the photography that went in to make the calendar. So
Okay.
those are available online. And you see the makeup artists just like on their butt, like on their leg. Like they're not even, it's like they're touching a canvas. They're not
Yeah.
even.
you have
Right.
to, yes, you have to take that is a penis 3 feet away from my face. You have to take it out of
Be
them.
professional. Be professional.
Be professional.
Have,
Right.
have you ever been that close to that?
No.
Like in a setting like that?
The closest I've been was on a film I was on. They needed me to run in and make one of the girls look oilier, and the guy was wearing a sock. Like that's the closest. And you just have to to protect yourself and protect the actor. You just kind of have to. This
Right.
is
Sure.
just.
It's a
this is-
professional environment. If it's being done
Everyone in
right.
the room is aware that this is uncomfortable,
Right.
And I will have like we were talking about earlier. I will have a moment with the actors. You should be like, if there isn't an intimacy coordinator, because there hasn't been a few times, and you need to call a tap out, holler, and I will run in there. And you forget that they're naked. You forget they're naked 3 minutes in.
Right.
Yeah.
There's the shock of it at first, and then you're just like,
Yeah.
It's just
That's
Sort of
just
like
my
real
buddy.
life.
yeah.
But speaking of intimacy coordinators, I would love to hire one for my life. Can you please tell me if there's a freelance intimacy coordinator?
Their job
to
is
have that
so
as a
interesting.
guest.
That's great.
Yeah, that
oh,
is
heck
really
yeah, that
interesting.
is a good. Let's write that down.
Yeah, write that down.
But that
Their
could be
job is incredible because they will choreograph an entire sex scene and
Wow.
then stand there and watch and make sure, if they're a great intimacy
Wow.
coordinator, it'll be like, is this okay? Is that
Right.
okay? What is your no areas? What is your
This actually gets us
Oh.
into Euphoria perfectly.
Yes.
Because Euphoria has, I don't know if you guys have been reading these articles, like Rolling Stone just did a whole thing where they're sort of saying that it's, was it Jump the Shark? Has the show completely gone off the rails? I mean, there isn't an episode without full frontal nudity
No.
in it at all.
No.
And so, wait, I'm wondering if you think that the use of full frontal male nudity can also be like maybe one of the actresses was Sydney
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 Sweeney.
Sweeney.
she was quoted
Yeah.
as saying that the creator was, a lot of this
Sam
nudity wasn't
Levinson.
required.
No.
Like, can we just
For
dial
sure.
it back?
Gratuitous at some
Yeah,
point, right?
she did say that in season 1, where when she had her first nude scene in season 1, she had said, showing this intimacy between me and this her boyfriend on the show, she was like, yeah, I would have gotten naked in real life. So yeah, I'll be nude. And
Yes.
it totally makes sense for me to be nude in this scene
Yeah.
because she's like,
Right.
would I do it in real life? Yeah.
But even then, the choice of where to put the camera is still the
Yeah.
filmmaker's choice.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
who is it? Sam Levinson?
Sam
Levinson.
Levinson has been, there's been a
maybe-
lot of stuff about over-sexualizing
Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney specifically.
I wonder if the season 2 spike in male nudity has anything to
flip
do
the
with
coin.
trying to, he's trying to balance it out.
Right.
Right.
Well, she said that she read most of the scripts, if not the entire season, and there were moments where it said, and Cassie is topless, and he's like, why?
Why?
She says why?
Yeah.
Right.
And he's like, well, if you don't want to, that's fine. It's not important for this.
That's
it's just
good to hear.
So he's
Yeah.
been listening, and the other actors have come out and said no, it is a very safe environment where if I don't think it's necessary, if I can give a valid reason that isn't just my nipples look bad today.
The Euphoria,
Yeah.
the whole topic of Euphoria I'm on a text chain with a lot of friends. Shout out to cowpokes out there. It has been, it's all me and 14 women. I think, maybe there's 13 of us total, but it's just me and a bunch of my female friends that, and a lot of them are moms of children of different ages, and the opinions about Euphoria and what is being depicted on that show and those storylines has really encouraged a lot of healthy debate, I think.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? What do you all think? Sorry. Also, is guys something that I shouldn't say?
I don't know. I had
What
the same thought.
I might as well say gals. The show's
Yeah.
called Gals Gay. What do you
Right.
gals think?
Guys?
Yeah.
I don't know if
Guys.
I learned once in college that it's a microaggression
Yeah.
to use
Yeah.
guy because it's a male.
Yeah, I don't personally like that when I go to a restaurant. They're like, "Hey guys, what else would you
Junior
like?" I
girlfriend.
really don't like that.
You're like,
Yeah.
well, first of all, I'd like you to recognize that I don't have a penis.
Right, exactly.
Secondly,
Right.
give me some egg rolls.
Well, maybe
Or whatever. No, so that I do ask that question. Like, what
That's a
is
good
what do
question.
you think about Euphoria? Is like the direction of the show? Are y'all watching it?
Yeah.
I haven't watched
Yeah.
this season, but I've watched the other
This
one.
Oh my God.
season is like way more
Yes.
intense.
This
Yeah.
season
It's
is
nuts.
it's
Right
the
out the
theories
gate.
are
That's a good
wild.
word, intense.
Yeah, it's an intense show. And even Zendaya the other day went on her Instagram and was like, "We love that you're all supporting, but this is a heavy season.
Right.
And if you
It's-
can't make it,
Yeah.
no one's going to hold it
I
against you."
love that she did that.
Yeah.
She was like,
Yeah.
"Don't worry. If you don't want to watch it, it's okay." And she
We
was
still
like,
feel the love. We still feel the support.
she does have a lot of like, she has a
Young
wide
fans.
group of fans,
Yeah.
but also
Wow.
like
No, I'm-
there are young people that I think not necessarily like young people can't watch it. I don't think that. But
how old do you
No.
think you should be to watch? How I don't like the word should. I don't mean to should all over you
No.
guys. What do you think would best serve families? Do you think that families would be best served by saying, okay, look, if you put this, you can't put this genie back in the bottle. It
Right.
just sweetens the fruit.
Right.
Your kids are gonna figure. These are smart 20s,
Yeah.
Yeah.
21st century kids. They're gonna have
Yeah.
access to the show. Is the right thing to do to watch it yourself and then contextualize it for your kids? And I mean, you could really ruin it for your kids if you just try to watch it with them.
Totally.
But what or do you think no? It's really is there an age that, in your opinion, is the right age before this is appropriate?
Yeah, I don't have an idea about age,
Yeah.
but
There's
I
no
think-
moms in the room.
I don't
Look at
really-
that.
That's the
However,
thing.
I
can't
don't really
speak for moms.
think
Why don't we
so.
ask the Dynamos? Hey,
I don't think
Dynamos,
so.
you guys put it in the chat.
I don't
We would
really
love to hear from you.
believe-
I know at least one mom is watching right now.
Right.
So, what are you thinking?
I personally don't really believe in censorship.
Okay.
Yeah.
With my experiences, and I think if you look at America versus other countries, like censorship isn't good. I just don't think, and that's my opinion.
But I mean, is it censorship for a parent to say?
I think that if you're a parent, like you do what you feel is right.
Sure.
Like I'm not saying anyone should do one way. I just think for me,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to teach censorship
I see what you're saying.
at really
Yeah.
any age.
Well,
Right.
I was, blocked from seeing this kind of thing, but then there was, Playboys and Hustler at
Right.
one family member's home all over the place.
Right.
And so I had a mixed messaging with that. Like, can't watch this, and then it's just everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
And I think that the fact that it's becoming so prevalent, it feels a little strangely timed with what just happened with the Me Too movement. Like, you can't help but think, like, we've gone after the toxic male, we've gone after the patriarch, and now all of a sudden there's penises everywhere. Like, that's interesting.
yeah.
Like we're
That is
we're
interesting.
we're, we're sexualizing men in a totally different way now after we slam them for hurting others. And I just think there's just something there.
Maybe
because
there
look
is.
at
Like,
look
there's-
at look at
Yeah.
how the
There's
females
something
was
there about objectification, right?
right. Women
Yeah.
were objectified, and in the 60s and 70s
And
there
then
was
it
a
taught a
big
pattern of behavior that led
Yeah.
men to be Me Too-ish, and now we're saying, well, let's objectify men too.
right, and it's just
Wow.
it just feels because when I was growing up, the women's liberation movement was anti-porn. It totally was a negative messaging for women, and I would walk in the streets of New York City and see lots of women and men marching with signs against pornography all over the city. And that was a whole thing, right?
Really?
And and it was just totally objectifying women. It led to assault, it led to rape, it led to all of these things.
Yeah.
And now we're on this other side of things where it's like, oh, we're just going to throw it out there, and it's getting all this attention, right? It's making money.
And it is true. I mean, you're making a valid point because I'm talking about it in a really lighthearted way. Like even, and if
Well, I was earlier as well.
yes, no, but I think it's worth thinking about both sides of it. Like,
Yeah.
is this
Yeah.
potentially like if I understand you correctly, you're saying that the objectification of women's bodies has led to some negative things in society. We don't want to repeat that pattern with men. When in our first story today, we talked that assault has no gender.
Right.
So, are we setting ourselves up for? Is this setting us up for a problem?
I feel
You
like,
know?
to Angelica's point, what some people perceived the Me Too movement was, don't objectify women. Okay, well then let's objectify men. When really, like at the heart of it, it was don't objectify
Of course.
people.
Anybody.
People.
Of
Right.
course.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
so it wasn't.
Absolutely.
It like someone took it like, oh, you don't want us to objectify women? Great, we're gonna run the opposite direction.
Right.
You know?
I mean, that's not at the core of what I believe started it.
Yeah.
But there was a witch hunt. And
Absolutely.
I've seen it. And I've seen it with men that I know that have been witch hunted and scared to death.
Yeah.
And just, there's that other side of the coin, right?
Yeah.
Of the backlash. So I feel like there's something to that. It just came to me because I'm like, that's kind of strangely timed, you know?
Yeah.
And at the same time, loving our bodies, connecting with our bodies, finding a way to have sacred sexual conversations, teaching that messaging. What we just had here earlier as our guest, right? And like all of these things, I think it will lead to that. I think we're an immature society, you know, America, we're a young country and we're like teenagers. So we're just growing up and we're learning and we make a lot of this media happen. So I think we're in that era of putting it all out there. And I believe that there's going to be the puritanical side. And then there's going to be the other side that's going to be like, let's go to a higher vibration about this. Let's stop shaming ourselves for sexuality. And there'll be a time when we're going to be like, oh, remember when they used to put dicks on TV? And now we're going to be like, whatever.
Remember when they did it as a statement.
It'll be
and it wasn't
completely
just something that
different.
happened?
Maybe it'll go the other route.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean there'll be a backlash and so much that people will not show nudity of either? I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Maybe.
No, I don't think so. I think
humans are naked. I mean, it's part of storytelling.
old statues.
Well, it wasn't back in the
ancient
day.
statues are covered in.
Well, it just wasn't
stigma.
depicted back
yeah,
in the day.
yeah.
That's
or
what I'm
if it
saying.
was,
in
right.
old movies, right?
In old movies, no, because that was a time when
In old movies when
sex is bad.
when a man and woman would sleep in separate twin beds.
I know. I love Lucy.
Yes,
Did you know the
I
Brady
love
Bunch?
Lucy.
Fun
Yes.
fact: the Brady Bunch was the first televised
Right.
series to show a man and wife in bed
Crazy.
together.
Wow.
All right,
That's
I do
crazy.
have a prediction.
Okay.
I think that it's going to be passé at a certain point.
Oh, absolutely.
That it's going to be very artistic to be like, we're not going to have full frontal. We're going to really do things tastefully. You know, that we went that extreme, and now we're going to go over here and go into deeper things. And it will be at some point we're going to see something really different than what we have right now.
I really hope
Gosh,
it goes
what else
from
is there?
right.
I mean, it feels
I
like
really
Virtual reality, and that's where it's going to go,
Virtual
right?
VR.
the meta.
Yeah, the
man.
meta. We're going to go to the
Come on,
virtual
Facebook.
reality.
Zuckerberg is gonna be filling up fake rooms with actors.
Oh,
and-
absolutely.
This will be fun.
Instead of seeing it, we're going to feel it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, how do you guys feel about the whole like VR porn thing that's like being discussed right now?
Oh, it's going to happen.
Virtual reality porn.
Porn.
So you
It's
wear
gonna
one of the
happen.
like an Oculus and you see. I
and
haven't.
you like, yeah,
I
You're
don't know.
in
I
the
don't know
room.
about that.
It's like, it's
Gosh.
happening.
It's happening,
I
and
feel
I-
like we might need to do some
Los
research.
Angeles is doing
Honestly.
has,
Erica needs to come back. for
Yeah.
that one.
Yes, Eric. Make sure we put it in proper context.
yeah,
Right.
There's
Yeah.
I forget what it's called, but it's a convention here in LA for like porn stars and things like that. I think it's like X something convention.
Yeah, like
And-
the Triple X convention
yes,
or something.
yes, I
like
think
that.
that's what it is, and it's here in LA. And I saw a billboard for it, and I didn't know what it was, so I looked it up. And like one of the main things that they're saying is like we're having VR porn like be one of the like things that they're promoting at this convention.
Like demonstrations
Yeah.
and stuff. Oh, it's
Yeah,
like
it's-
it's like a CES.
Yes.
But for porn.
But for porn.
But for the adult industry. Oh, I've heard about this. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The adult. Oh, they have awards too. Maybe this is two different things I'm mixing up. But there are adult
Yeah.
video awards
Yeah.
that are
But,
given
like,
out.
the
It's
The
VR
like,
adult
thing.
film industry is its own like tiny little Hollywood.
oh, I'm
it
sure.
has everything: conventions, awards, shows.
And I mean, look, here's the reality. This is something we talk about here, right? Keeping things real.
yeah,
Right.
If you look at the top 10 most visited websites in the world, X videos is on there.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
or Pornhub or
Right.
maybe
Yeah.
both. That
Yeah.
that is not just men.
No.
First of all, and it's not just sexual guys. Like everybody has access to it, and I think that coming full circle in the Euphoria story and the whole debate amongst my friends and their kids is that I agree that the violence in the show and the drug use in the show to me is more concerning
Yeah.
than the nudity
Yeah.
for the
Right.
sex
Yeah.
because that's human.
Yeah.
And P.S. Your kids have seen it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It might be shocking for some parents to see it on HBO, but
Wow.
but video screens in your kids' pockets, most of them have access to
right when
adult
I was
videos. So.
when I was younger, I'd go over to a friend's house and they'd have The Sims and we'd play Sims and we'd make them have sex the whole time.
Oh yeah.
I'm not joking because it was
Oh,
so
that's-
untalked about. It was so
yeah.
Right.
like I grew up in a very like my parents weren't like okay, you can watch all whatever you want. But like, if I had a question, it was answered. But I was still curious.
Right.
Like
we just did it with our Barbies and our Kens. And the
we did
Kens
that
would
too.
attack us.
Totally.
You know?
And then we had Sims and we could watch it, you know, the sheets ruffle and, you know, whatever. Or we'd watch the music videos that have, you know, really hot people doing almost sex with all their clothes on.
Please.
And like,
Right.
why does this make me feel like this?
Right.
I'm in
I'm old enough to remember when you would walk up to the TV and turn it on.
wow.
I know.
There was no clicker.
But there was a clicker. I'm not that old, okay. But
It had 4 buttons and it went click, click,
no
click.
one knew where it was. And you would turn it to HBO and the lines would be squiggly.
Yeah.
And
Skinner
boys, we would just be like looking for a nipple.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
looking for something. And it's like this. The whole point is that we're sexual creatures. People are drawn to sex. They will be
And it's
forever.
okay.
Yeah.
So we might as well talk about it like we are here.
Totally.
The last one I want to talk about is something we've mentioned is that sometimes full frontal male nudity is used in the context of comedy.
Yeah.
And a lot of it. And
Yeah.
this show, the Righteous Gemstones, also on HBOMax. This is the same. I'm sorry. So you have if you guys aren't watching this show, it is a story of like a fake evangelical family who's like rocking a mega church.
Yeah.
And John Goodman plays the pastor of this mega church, and
Daddy pastor.
he's a widower, and his 3 kids are one just as more ridiculous than the next.
Adam
And the
Devine.
youngest is Adam Devine.
Love
And
him.
this man, who you can't even see who he is, he's like Adam Devine's houseboy, I guess, houseman. Who they're on the show, their characters are never said to be gay, but there's clearly all this tension. And
Right.
in this
Same
scene,
way it is in church.
this guy has been taken back by the devil worshippers, the satanic group.
Stop.
Because he's at odds with the Adam Devine character, and so he ends up in this scene where this guy's wearing this red plastic suit and just his willy is out. And here's the thing.
my
This is the
God.
thing. It's hilarious.
Oh my God.
But you never, even back in the day when you would see a fleeting moment of male full frontal nudity, it would be
was very quick.
flaccid, it would be quick, and it was at a distance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now this is erect,
Oh my God.
fully visible. I'm sure it's a prosthetic, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I just think that I think it's hilarious, if I'm being honest.
No,
I just
yeah.
don't think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And to me, the more often we see it and the more sort of normalized it becomes, the less of a forbidden fruit it is, the less interesting it is.
Exactly.
And to Angelica's point, we'll see the pendulum come back down because it's not as exciting. Something else will replace
Well,
it.
it'll be the
Right.
VR. I mean, this is where it's
Maybe,
going to
yeah.
head, you
Yeah.
guys. I'm telling you, this is
Yeah.
it, where you're going to have the experience of these things in your own home. There's not going to be other people, and like the connection is going to be lost. So right now, to talk about sacred sexuality, to talk about connection, to talk about finding your centers, so we can model that for young people that are going to grow up. That's going to be the new porn.
Yeah.
It's like Black Mirror, man. There's an
Oh,
episode
that's
of Black
awful.
I mean, I
Mirror
hate
where
to
they talk about VR porn. And this came out years ago.
And
So this
ima-
is like pre.
I
what's
saw
happening
that
now.
episode.
Yeah,
that
it's
was actually
intense.
it was very.
It could be
intense.
helpful
Yeah.
too if you think about
Yeah.
it. Like imagine a world in where a couple is long distance and they really want to be intimate with each other. They could put on their VR headsets and maybe it's a more realistic
yeah.
experience. Maybe you could even
That
get
would
a
be
sex
fun.
doll that is Wi-Fi operated. And
Oh, that's
you
a
both
good
get
episode
one,
of Black Mirror.
and then your
Yeah, I was gonna say.
doll
That's
is,
one of my favorites.
and then
Well, they
you
have
know,
little mini
they
things
move.
like that, that you can get that
like
are
a
virtual.
little mini doll.
Well, no, like
Who
little
wants to date a little
toys.
doll?
There are toys that are on an app, and
Oh, yeah.
you can use
Yeah.
them long distance.
Yes.
So the person goes on the app and they can control what's happening.
People do it
long-
in grocery stores.
I was
my
gonna
God.
say.
I
Oh,
love
what, are
this
you
show
kidding
so
me?
much.
They will
I
be
am learning
at
so
I've
many
grocery
seen like
stores.
So,
TikToks.
so
I
what's
have
the
one.
website?
Okay, wait. I have one that plays music. Okay.
Bluetooth. You just like Bluetooth vibrate. Yeah, they'll be walking through the grocery store like with their phone, and then her phone and his phone.
Oh, yeah.
And she'll be like looking for Jello or something,
Oh,
and
my
she'll start
gosh.
to just like like
So this
Man,
is what's
Yeah,
next.
this is the thing, right?
So interactive
it plays
Yep.
music
porn.
In
down
public.
there. Okay, so you can play all kinds of playlists,
Yeah.
or have someone DJ.
So wait, like you
Change
could, say you. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, you can be like scratching and like
I guess so, because if you think about it, you call someone. If your
Yeah.
phone's in your pocket and it's
Oh,
set
yeah.
on vibrate mode, you can make them vibrate.
Oh
So
no,
I
this
guess
is
that's
an
kind of what you're
actual
saying.
sex toy.
Well, I understand, but I'm
That's-
just trying to
Right. I
put
mean,
it
you're
into
trying
context
to
for
understand
myself. 'Cause
science.
my next question is, well, where's the toy? Like, what's?
in my bedroom.
Wherever
little box
on your
next to
body.
Wherever
Like where
Yeah,
you
you
want
can
the toy. Okay, I see.
any
So
orifice.
I'm not gonna say.
you guys are making me blush, which is not
You
easy
can
to
use
do.
it
I think part of it is
however-
because it's kind of
Okay.
intriguing.
You can
I have
use
a
it
few
however you
TikToks
like.
to send you.
Okay.
I was gonna say.
You can use it as a man. You can use it as a woman. You
Yeah.
can use it as a them, as a they, whomever. It's not gender specific. It's for all people. And I'll just let you know what it is. It's called We Vibe.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let me just write that down really fast. What is
Do
it?
we need to put that in the...
I got that in the pandemic, honey.
We vibe.
I love it.
Okay.
That's what we're going to be candid, folks. All the magic happens in the vulnerability, doesn't it? I love it. All right, so let's wrap on full frontal male nudity. Thank you.
Can I add one thing?
yeah.
One more thing.
Just one big thing, one long thing, or one thick thing?
I'll let you decide.
Okay.
So
Oh, that might be a beep later. No, we're not going to do that. Go ahead.
So you guys remember the show Ratchet that just came out?
Yes,
with
the
Sarah
Nurse
Paulson?
Ratchet.
Yes, Nurse Ratchet. So there's a scene, you don't even see it, but there's a scene where it's not Finn Wolfhard. I keep calling him that. Flynn Whitrock. He is showering. He's like a bad guy. He's in jail. He's showering. He's turned around and he's got his legs spread a little bit and you can see like a little bit kind of, it's implied, but he was talking about that and their makeup artist, Erin Kruger McCash, he goes, we had fittings. We had regular fittings, just like outfit fittings. But for penises, she brought a box of prosthetic penises out of her garage. And it said on the prosthetic penises. And it was all different sizes, all different colors. And he got to pick his penis for that.
Really?
And you see this much of it through his legs in a shadow.
Wow.
It's wild.
But that's the
detail.
attention. That's Hollywood. That's attention
Yeah.
to detail.
Yeah.
They apply
That's
that kind of, that attention to detail across all the avenues. Of
That's
Yeah.
another
art.
segment. Pick
It
your
is.
penis.
Oh, what I want to know is how did this woman just? I guess it came up enough that she had a box of dicks in her garage.
She is Ryan Murphy's regular makop artist. So anytime you've
okay.
seen it in like American Horror
Oh.
Story,
I was
gonna-
anything,
God
she's-
bless Ryan Murphy. He has brought so much amazing
I love him
entertainment
so
to
much.
the world.
Truly.
One day, Brian, you'll be here putting it out to the stars. All
Oh, the
right,
dream.
all
Let's
my
go.
favorite
The
folks.
dream.
The Gals, Gays, and Theys podcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience from our studio in Pasadena, California. ModPod Studio Live presents Gals, Gays, and Theys live streams on YouTube and Twitch Tuesdays and Fridays, 2 to 5 p.m. Pacific. Gals, Gays, and Theys is a ModPod Studio production. For details on all of our shows, or if you'd like to start a show of your own, check us out online, modpodstudio.com, or on social media @ModPodStudios.